Italian neorealism might be about people struggling to get by. For example, if I don't get my bicycle back, I'll lose my job, I won't be able to feed my family. The urban struggle in Taiwan cinema is more existential. Hey everybody, my name is Nick. I'm a director living in Taiwan, and today I want to talk about the film The Boys From Fengkuei, directed by Hou Hsiao Hsien. This is Hou Hsiao Hsien's fourth film, and it marks his change from a commercial director into an artistic auteur. And Hou Hsiao Hsien himself has even said that this is his first film. An interesting background on this film was started right around the beginning of the Taiwanese New Wave. Taiwanese New Wave, or Taiwanese New Cinema, is marked to have started in 1982 with the film In Our Time, which was a compilation film from several different directors. People compare the new Taiwanese cinema to Italian neorealism. Taiwanese new cinema becomes something of its own thing later on in the movement, I think, with films like City of Sadness or A Brighter Summer Day. They have their own characteristics that are very unique and their own hallmarks that are very separate from Italian neorealism, in my opinion. But this film, The Boys From Fengkuei, since it's earlier on in the movement, I think it shows a much clearer influence from Italian neorealism. We can make a lot of these stylistic comparisons to those kinds of films. For example, we have a handheld camera, a lot more of it in this film. There's kind of a documentary style, it's shot in real locations. Thematically, we are exploring the living conditions of the poor working class struggling to survive. And the plot is mostly centered around people living their day-to-day life. So in all these ways, it's very similar to Italian neorealism. There is a lot in The Boys From Fengkuei that is emblematic of the new Taiwanese cinema, and we can see the development of the signature style starting out in this film. We get long, faraway takes. We have an unconventional narrative structure that is slower. I think one of the things that is very different from Italian neorealism and is very unique to new Taiwanese cinema is that the themes in Taiwanese cinema are more about alienation of city life. Italian neorealism might be about people struggling to get by. For example, if I don't get my bicycle back, I'll lose my job, I won't be able to feed my family. The urban struggle in Taiwan cinema is more existential. I always find that the characters have an okay time making ends meet, but the thing they can't do is find meaning in their lives. And I think that is the big difference, the big separator between the two. The urbanization in the Taiwanese cinema is all about how it robs them of their ability to make human connection. It's more about meaning than survival, in my opinion. So that brings us to the story and the plot of The Boys From Fengkuei. The film begins in Fengkuei, which is on the island of Penghu, and the boys that live there are aimless, frustrated. The only thing they ever do is get into gang fights. And the aimlessness of these characters is mimicked in the organization of the film in the first act. I found the movie here to be honestly a little bit muddled and kind of hard to follow. I didn't know who was fighting with who, what the fights were about, how much time had gone by. It was all kind of mixed up in the beginning of this movie. And I was honestly having a hard time getting into the rhythm of these characters' lives. I mean, I just felt like it was like this jumbled, meaningless mess punctuated by the fact that they like met a girl and were trying to hang out with her. It honestly didn't seem like I was gonna like this movie in the beginning of it. But eventually, three of the boys feel like they need to leave Penghu and go to Kaohsiung on Taiwan to escape the fighting going on and to try to make some real money and kind of move on with their lives and grow up. So this is when I think the film really starts to take shape. The film orients itself kind of in the same way that the boys are trying to orient their life. What we see is that once these boys leave Penghu and start to try to kind of ground their life in something real, they move to a city and they realize how worthless they are. They get jobs as factory workers and the city swallows them up. And unlike the small island that they grew up on, they have no power anymore. We see them unable to figure out how the bus system works. We see them get taken advantage of by people and con them. And so these boys who seem so powerful on the small island of Penghu are revealed to be pretty ineffectual and powerless people. In particular, the main character, Ah Ching, who realizes that he is basically useless when he falls in love with his neighbor and wants her to love him back, but he kind of gets the feeling that he has nothing to offer her. He doesn't make a lot of money, he doesn't know how to do anything, and she already has a boyfriend who's richer and better than him. He starts to try to learn English to kind of elevate his status, but it doesn't really work, and even when his neighbor's boyfriend is arrested, she opts to move away from Kaohsiung instead of finally deciding, oh, I'm going to be with him. So this is the alienation of city life. Striving, hoping, trying to do anything with your life is ultimately useless because you don't have the right skills to survive in this harsh modern world. Penghu, and growing up there, has offered these characters nothing but useless wandering, and the real fact of the matter is that nobody who didn't grow up in a city is prepared for the danger and the confusion and the complication of this really unfeeling, very dog-eat-dog city life. The end of this film really sealed its brilliance for me when the girl that Ah-ching loves leaves. He goes to the market where one of his friends is selling tapes, and in a fit of frustration, he stands on a box screaming for people to buy tapes that are now half price. Kind of highlights for me how in this modern society, the only thing that we can think to do to fix our alienation is to try to make more money. If Ah-ching can sell enough tapes, then maybe he can get the girl back. He's trying to sell these tapes, but his friend tells him, like, we're not going to make any money if you sell them half price, but he doesn't care. All he wants to do is sell as many as he can. It really shows how so many of us are trying to strive in this system, this kind of capitalist, ruthless system, but we don't really know what we need to do to get by in it. And then Hou Hsiao Hsien does something really brilliant in the final frames. He cuts away from Ah-ching, and in a documentary style, he shows all these different vendors in the marketplace sitting there, kind of looking into the camera. And we see all these people trying to sell all these different things in this Kaohsiung marketplace. And we realize that that is all of us. Everyone in society is just hoping that we can sell enough, that we can make enough money, that we can buy human connection, that we can buy a sense of meaning, or we can make enough to get a sense of meaning. That's what we really want. So this film is about the alienation that we all feel in modern society. Final interesting piece of this movie is related to Ah-ching's father. Ah-ching's father is severely disabled because of an accident that left a huge dent in his head. I feel like the point of this was to show that in modern society, dreams and the things that fulfill us are detrimental to us functioning properly in society. If we let our dreams take hold of us, then we become useless people for society. So like his father, if we give in to wanting to play baseball, then we'll get a big dent in our head and we'll be unable to contribute and support and protect our family. So it's kind of a very nihilistic, bleak view on the world, saying don't have dreams, don't try to be happy, because then you're gonna fail. At least that's my interpretation of this film, is that it's very bleak, very sad movie, and it has a very negative view of modern society and the way the world works. So I would highly recommend The Boys from Fengkuei, and I'll see you guys next time.